cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do you want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome back. This is the Get Right Fantasy Network with me, Mike Herrick, aka Classic Mike. This is our Week 15 active and inactive show. I'm going to be going over the news and notes since our Friday show. And then at 11:30 or so, or when the news comes in, I will give you guys actives and inactives for the 1 p.m. games and help you get ready for that playoff push. We're all in that playoff situation this week. Good luck to everybody. If you have any start-sit questions leading up, please make sure you guys throw them in the chat. We also have super chats on for immediate responses, so don't hesitate. I will stop the show for you. Also, go ahead and drop those questions. Make sure you guys are using the type of league, the scoring, half PPR, full PPR, tight end premium, those things, just so I have a better understanding of your question. Also, I have the banner below. It has, if you are new to this particular channel, gives you the full layout of what's going on. We have a full week of shows. Tomorrow we'll have our waiver wire ads. Tuesday we're going to have Tycoon. In the boardroom we're going to have we're still having a show on Wednesday, even though it's not buy sell. And then also we have Phil on Wednesdays and on Thursdays at the extra point, as well as Friday we will have our 2 start-sit shows, especially leading up to the playoffs. So make sure you guys check out those shows. Let's get some news and notes in for you guys. Might help answer some questions, not the ones that I see in the chat. Don't worry, I'm going to get to them. Right now, let's just get through these injuries real quick. Bucky Irving, he's dealing with back and hip injuries. He is expected to play today. So expect Bucky Irving on the field. I'm not sure how that's going to look, to be quite honest. He had a rough week last week. He can definitely re-aggravate back and hip. If you ever had back and hip injuries in any way, shape, or form, it is hard to go through even just a normal day of work. Just walking around. These guys are putting their bodies on the line. It's going to be a tough day. They might even limit his role. They haven't really talked about that, but if he's playing, expect him to do his normal thing. David Njoku, he's looking more like a game time decision. He will have to test, his hamstring pregame. But honestly, me personally, I'm not optimistic that he plays. And even if he does, it's going to be a limited role. He did not practice at all this week. So just be aware of that right now. It's also bad weather in Cleveland. I will get to that in a minute as well. That's kind of part of my news and notes. Tony Pollard is expected to play after missing practice for most of the week. The team injury report states that he was limited in on Friday, but beat reporters stated that he was not there on the open portion of Friday's practice. Just something to keep an eye on, but Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport have both stated that he is expected to play today. I'd expect him to play today. Breece Hall is another guy. He is expected to play after missing practice on Wednesday and Thursday. He practiced in full on Friday. He should be good to go. Josh Downs, he's coming back from a shoulder injury. He's expected to play. He had a whole bye week to get ready on top of this week. He practiced in full. He's fine. Ladd McConkey is another guy. Knee and shoulder. He is listed as questionable, and the plan is for him to work out pregame. But most sources say the team is optimistic that he can go. He'll have a really good shot to return against the Bucs. Just know that game is a 4:30 game. So I would have somebody in I'd have somebody set up to pivot just in case, but all these reports seem to be very optimistic that he does play. On the other side of the ball for the Bucs game, Sterling Shepard is listed as questionable for Sunday's game due to a foot injury. He's expected to play today, and we already talked about Bucky Irving. Raiders 3-time Pro Bowler Max Crosby, he will be ruled out for Monday's game and for the rest of the season. He's expected to go through some arthroscopic ankle surgery, and it's probably ending his season. Seahawks activated and elevated a running back from their practice squad. This just looks like, Kenneth Walker being out. Charbonnet is a lock today. He's a top 10 back in my rankings. Weather could be a huge factor in the Kansas City-Cleveland game. As we saw in San Francisco, it can definitely affect the game more than you know. I know Jameis Winston can play through that. We saw it when he played in the snow. He did okay. He had a great game overall. But just be aware, 20 mile an hour winds throughout, gust up to 25 to 30 miles an hour with the crosswind. If you've ever been to that stadium, it is literally on the water. And it is one of those, they get a very strong wind there. If you guys don't follow Matt FF Dynasty on Twitter, you should. I'm getting this from him. He is a very, very good meteorologist, if you will, for the, for fantasy. He does a very good job writing a thread every Sunday and throughout the week. So make sure you guys are following him. If you aren't, he does a really good job breaking down, things like weather. The wind is a huge factor here. In a lot of ways, it's one of those things that, he can definitely play through it, but I think this is a big factor when it comes to Njoku. I think Isaiah Pacheco could be in for a decent game just based on the increased workload. They're going to want to keep it on the ground. Mahomes has been having a rough day as of late. Jerome Ford might be a little bit more involved just with the short passing game to get it outside, and that defense has been looking, they've been pretty good the last few weeks. But I think that this can be a really big factor coming forward. I'm taking all my kickers from this game out. Harrison Butker coming back from an injury and off an IR. He's active. I'm not playing him. Dustin Hopkins, not playing him either. So let's get to your questions here. We have Master Vader. Love it. Absolutely love it. Good morning, he says. Waddle, Neighbors, or Waddle, Neighbors, Metcalf, Brian Thomas Jr., Shakir, pick 3. No problem. I'm going to have to assume it's full PPR. Please make sure you guys are using either full PPR, half PPR, tight end premium, so on and so forth. Gives me a better perspective. In most situations like this, I just assume it's going to be full PPR. And if I have to pick 3, Neighbors is out. I'm not playing Neighbors today. I'm sorry. I know the matchup's good. I don't trust Tommy DeVito. I'm a Giants fan. I can tell you straight up right now, I am not looking forward to watching that game in any way, shape, or form. If I'm going in one direction, it would probably be Brian Thomas Jr. Definitely like that particular scenario versus the Jets. Shakir, I like as well. And I think I like Metcalf a little bit more than Waddle, but I don't hate Waddle's matchup. I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go Waddle, but just know he has an injury that he's battling through. He should be okay, but the injury risk of re-injuring is kind of high for him. It's between Waddle and Metcalf. Neighbors is out for me, so I'm definitely setting Neighbors out of these 5 for sure. BTJ and Shakir are definitely locks for me. Both have really good matchups. They've been heavily involved. Josh Allen's going to have to do a little bit of everything today versus Detroit, who's been playing real well. The over-under's high. I don't hate it. I do think that game is going to hit the under more than it's going to hit the over. But, because the over right now is, over-under is 45. Or no, 54, which is one of the highest I've ever seen. So when it's that high, it's hard for me to, be on board with that, to be fair. I'm going to switch to Waddle. I already had Waddle. Waddle, BTJ, and Shakir. That's a tough one. Thanks, Master. I appreciate it. Tyler, what's going on, brother? Great to have you here. He goes, with Ritter being it, Jacoby Myers or Jaden Reed. I'm not high on Jaden Reed. If you watched the show on Friday, I broke it down with Kendall. We had a question with somebody that they were asking Jaden Reed or Ray McLeod. And I looked at the numbers from week 10 to 14. He has been wide receiver 47, I believe. I have to double check my math real quick. I have it up, actually. Yeah, 47 through the last 5 weeks. That's not promising. He hasn't been having those 2 touchdown games. He hasn't done well since week 4. If you have, Reed, you must have really good options otherwise. Myers, I don't mind at all. I would prefer having him, but with Ritter, it definitely lowers him a little bit just because of I just don't think Ritter is a good quarterback in any way, shape, or form. But let's look at the numbers that I've been looking at. Even with playing with Aiden O'Connell and things like that, he's been wide receiver 11. It's hard to not play a guy like that. 36 targets in the last 5 weeks, since week 10, 23 receptions, 285 yards, 4 touchdown. And 2 touchdown. No, sorry. I have a lot on my screen and 0 touchdowns, but 20 for, 4 passes for 4 yards 4 catches for 20 yards. I'm going to have to go Myers here, even with Ritter. I just don't trust what Reed has been doing lately, which just means, more than likely he's going to go off. So if you trust that particular narrative, I would go with Reed. But honestly, I like Myers a little bit better here. Marcos, what's going on? He goes, Buenos dias, what's going on? He goes, I'm in the playoffs. No problem, brother. Thanks to your advice. Have a few more today. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I love that you guys have made it because of us and your, what we've been telling you. Please make sure you guys are leaving comments if you aren't for the videos. It really helps us out to, grow the channel. So, make sure you guys comment on these videos, like the videos so that we can get these out to more people. Marcos asks, tight end. Oh, God. Kyle Pitts or Stone Smart? Ew. All right. So I think I'm going to go with Smart here. He's been more involved than Kyle Pitts has, unfortunately. The matchup's pretty decent, I think, for Kyle Pitts. But honestly, it's just for some reason they haven't enjoyed going, throwing the ball to him. The matchup's fantastic. Raiders are 30th against the tight end. They don't look at the same numbers we do, which is ridiculous. Antonio Winfield is out for the Buccaneers as well. That's helpful. They're 17th best against the tight end. He was heavily involved the last few games. I mean, right now I probably have Pitts ranked higher, and it's really just because I haven't seen enough from Stone Smart to really know who he is, or I haven't been able to watch a lot. But he was tight end 13 last week. He had 3 receptions for 54 yards versus Kansas City. I don't hate that matchup. I like what he's been doing recently. I might be okay with playing Smart over Pitts. It's so hard to play a guy like Kyle Pitts over someone like Smart. But I think this week you're more than able to do something like that. If you're in a situation where you are ahead, I might play Smart. If you need upside, Kyle. I can't even say if you need upside because that's kind of stupid. No, I'm gonna go Smart because I'm gonna go Smart. I hate it, but I like Smart. Joe, what's going on, Joe? Joe is in the building. If you guys need any help, he is there for you guys as well. He says, "How are we feeling about Brees? He's going to play. I have him ranked pretty low, even though the matchup's pretty decent for him. I have him probably ranked in the 30s if memory serves me. He didn't practice all week. He is battling the injury. There is a chance for him to re-aggravate the injury. Everyone was optimistic last week. They were optimistic this week. I don't know. I would maybe, most situations, if you have Brees Hall, you're playing him just because you probably don't have anybody else to really replace him. But I do have other options on the board. This is a good one. Sincere McCormick. I have Sincere ranked 24. I have Brees at 31. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with playing a guy like Sincere McCormick just based on volume and this particular game. It's a Monday night game. It's the second of the Monday night games. 44.5 point over under. I don't hate those particular situations. Let's look at the matchup for the running back for Sincere McCormick going against the Falcons. Falcons are Where are you? Oh, the Falcons are sixth best against the running back since week 10. So it's a tougher matchup overall. Defense is going to be a factor for this team as well. So they might have to involve him in the passing game. He has been involved in the passing game. So I do like Sincere a little bit over Brees. It's hard to trust Brees with the injury. So I'm gonna go with Sincere if you're between Brees and Sincere. Like I said, I said it a couple days ago. I said it I think in our show on Friday. It doesn't matter anymore. I don't care if your first round pick is not doing well. It doesn't matter. He's that talented that he's a first round pick, but he hasn't been producing for you recently. We care about now. I care about the next 3 weeks. I don't care about what he did in the beginning of the year for the most part. I don't care where he was drafted. If you have a guy like Sincere McCormick who's been playing well in this offense, you can play him over a guy like Brees Hall. But I will also tell you to play your studs. So it's one of those, you gotta find the fine line in those two. Cooper Lauren, what's going on, man? He goes, good morning. Good morning to you, Bucky, Rashad White, or Najee Harris, full PPR. That's a great question. I would lean Rashad White just because I'm unsure of Bucky's injury. Back and hip injuries are tough to gauge. If running backs especially, they take one hit to the side, they're done for the day. Like that hurts, and it's based on where it is. If he has a lower back injury and it's a hip, I saw him after, I think it was 2 weeks ago, after he had a monster game. They show him walking into the locker room with like a heat pad, and he's just grabbing that freaking thing, and he's just like hobbling in. And he did everything he could. He left everything on the field, but holy shit, the guy went through hell. So right now, I would be really. It's hard for me to tell you to play Bucky. I would rather have Rashad White. He's been playing well. He's been heavily involved. And Najee has a bad matchup against the Eagles. Even though, Eagles are 7th best against the running back the last few weeks since week 10. So they've been doing very well. So I would go with White, and Joe agrees. Yeah. So I would go White in that scenario. Neanderthal, what's going on, brother? He goes Tank Dell, Keon Coleman, Devontae Smith, standard. Ooh. All right, I'll give you a few options. Dell has been under the radar, hasn't been really used. I think if I did my math, he is since week 10. I believe he's been, where is he? He's so low on this list that I can't find him. Where is he? This is it's so bad that I'm using Control Find to find the guy. That's how bad he is. Oh, okay. He's been wide receiver 78 since week 10. Keon Coleman, of course, has been out with an injury, so it's hard to gauge his particular situation. Dell has been healthy. Smith has been banged up the last few weeks. He's at 75. So it's hard to gauge that. And Jalen Hurts hasn't really been throwing the ball that well or at all. That over-under is low. I might want to take a flyer on Keon. That matchup is going to be a fun one. I think most of the coverage is going to go towards, Amari Cooper, and they're going to have. I mean, Josh Allen gets his full, group of targets or of wide receivers today. I mean, he gets Keon Coleman, he gets Shakir, he has Amari Cooper all healthy. This is the first time they're all pretty healthy, so this game is going to be an interesting one to see what the Bills do, if they're going to run the ball heavy to keep their offense, keep the Lions offense off the field, or are they going to throw the ball and get these guys involved. Keon is a big dude going against these guys. They have good corners. One of the better secondaries in the league. Steelers have the same scenario going against a good defense, or the Eagles going against a good defense. Tank Dell. I think Dell can be a sneaky one because everything's going to go to Collins, and they do play better. Excuse me. They do play better at home. It's just now you want to connect quarterbacks to each of these guys. Stroud has been playing not as good as he's been playing in the as last year. Keon, has Allen, who's been out of his mind lately, and Jalen Hurts has been mediocre. His rushing floor keeps him there. So, I mean, if you want to go based on the quarterback, I think I would lean Dell just because of the fact that he's been so underproducing that maybe it's time for them to get him involved. So Tyler goes, O'Connell isn't Ritter. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. It's so hard for me to give an answer with Reed or O'Connell or Reed or Myers. If you trust Jordan Love more than you trust, Jordan Love more than you trust Desmond Ritter, then you can play Jaden Reed. But just know in advance how bad Jaden Reed has been the last few weeks. So, like I said, to give perspective, his last few weeks, I'm going to just break down his numbers. He had, since week 11, he had 9.8 fantasy points, 5.6, 19 in week 13 against Miami, and then 0 against Detroit. Now, I think a lot of that 0 hurts him a lot. If you think Jaden Reed is a better option there, I don't mind it. But like I said, he had 33 points in week 1, 6, 10, 24 or 27, 13, 14, 3, 7, 16. He goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It's so hard to gauge what he can do in this particular matchup. But if I'm looking at a guy like Jacoby Myers, who has been playing with Aiden O'Connell, 17, 18, 8, 22, 55, 13. Slowly going down, but he's consistently involved. He's averaging, if I'm using my math correctly, the last 3 weeks, 15, 11, and 10 targets. I'd rather be playing with the guy that's getting consistent targets, especially in full PPR. So I know it's Desmond Ritter. The quality of targets going to be horrible. He's probably going to have, if Aiden O'Connell is giving him 5 for 10, 11 for 6, and 10 for 7, my assumption would be 10 for 5, but he's gone over 60 in all of them. I can see that too. I like Jacoby's situation better than I like Jaden Reed. That's all. And Witherspoon is actually a really good corner. So is, Colby Bryant and, Walden. They are both they are all very good corners out there in Seattle, even though they've been getting beat the last few weeks. Cooper goes, also need to start 3 wide receivers between Oh, okay. Sorry, you put full people. So between Devontae Smith, Judy, Brian Thomas Jr., Garrett Wilson, and Dell. Was thinking BTJ, Wilson, and Judy, but with the weather in LA, Cleveland. I think there you go. Scares you. It scares me too a little bit. Judy is a deep threat. He's been involved in the passing game. Volume alone will be his friend. Jameis Winston can throw the ball 50 times a game. If you look at his particular stats the last few weeks, let me get his numbers here, just so that I'm not blowing Dixie here. He's low on the list because he hasn't been playing. God, I have to go through different. I hate when I have to go through different things because they have stats for different people at different spots. So I have Jameis ranked at 21 this week. The last few weeks, he has had 27 so since week 11, he had 46 attempts versus the Saints, 27 against the Pittsburgh Steelers in their snow game. Then their 58 versus Denver and 41 versus Pitt the second time they faced off. So realistically, I don't see him going crazy like in these 40s and 50s with this particular weather. He has passed over 40 times in all the games he's played in since week 8, other than week 12. So with that being said, my assumption is in this game they have to. So I can see him going over 40. So volume is king for Jerry Jeudy to survive. BTJ is a lock for me. Garrett Wilson is a lock for me. Jeudy is just been playing so good that it's hard not to play him regardless of the situation. The weather's going to scare anybody. It scares me. I don't have Jeudy anywhere, but I can assume that it's not going to be a fun game to watch in that context if you're, wanting him to do well. Tank Dell, it's hard to play Jeudy over Dell. Or Dell over Jeudy. My apologies. And Devontae Smith, same conversation. Even though it's a decent matchup, I think at this point you're better off just sticking with Jeudy and seeing what happens. Just because he has a higher upside than all of them. So I'm gonna go with Jerry Jeudy for that, and the other two that you picked. Will Hayes, what's going on, brother? He goes, who should I start in my tight end, Hunter Henry or Dalton Kincaid? I'm going to tell you Hunter Henry. Still need some more coffee. Hunter Henry is definitely the pick for me in this particular scenario. Him and Austin Hooper have actually been playing pretty well with Drake May the last few weeks. They're coming off the bye. They're healthy. Dalton Kincaid is coming off the injury. I understand the willingness or the wanting to play him now that this over-under is like 54.5. I think that's the biggest draw to that particular game where everyone is like, oh, it's 54 points. They're going to go off. That's Vegas. They want you to see that number, and there's a reason, they think it could go up to that high. That game is going to be an interesting one to watch. Honestly, I'm really excited for the 4:00 window to be able to watch that game. But I would strongly think about like in some situations like this, I'm not playing Dalton Kincaid because I don't know, and he has everybody back. They could just run the ball. They could just continue to run the ball the whole game to keep the Lions off the field. I think both teams are going to try to do that. I think that the reason why I also think that this game is going to be on the under, both teams are going to have to run the ball to keep the offense off the field. I think Dan Campbell's smart. You have Josh Allen. He just put up 42 points last, 2 weeks ago versus the Rams, or last week against the Rams. Why would you want to have that happen again? No. run the damn ball, lower the clock, make it where they have less possessions. You don't want him out on the field. And they have two wonderful running backs. I think the Bills are going to be wanting to do the same. And it's going to be a very interesting game. Detroit is favored in this matchup. I mean, I understand all the narratives that go to him, but I'm going to go Hunter Henry. Well, hey, another. Wow, I should have put Bills on the. I should have just put all the Bills onto my thumbnail today. Also, should I start Malik Neighbors, Amari Cooper, Darnell Mooney, full PPR? I actually really like Darnell Mooney this week. I have a weird. So my own question marks that I have for my particular games. One of them is like Kirk Cousins. He's been having a really rough few weeks, but he's been going against decent defenses, good pass rushes. And this week they're going against the Raiders, who just lost Max Crosby for the year. You can't replace a Pro Bowl guy like Max Crosby. I feel a little bit stronger for a guy like Mooney than I do Amari Cooper. He's going to be going against a couple of guys, in that defense that are pretty good. So I would stray from that for now. I would pretty much go with Darnell Mooney here. I can't start Malik Neighbors. I just can't. So we're getting news that David Njoku is inactive today. He will not be playing. Like I said, I didn't think he would play. Jordan Akins is the replacement guy if you need a particular tight end. But I would go with anybody else on the waivers if you could. If you have Dalton Schultz available or what's his name? I always forget how to say his name. Grant Calaterra. He's another guy like Jawan Johnson. Even Hunter Henry, who I just mentioned. Those guys I like a lot more. So aim for them at this point. Bengals don't have anybody inactive that I can see. Bengals look pretty good. Titans look pretty good. Giants don't have anybody. Keaton Mitchell is inactive today. That's a big one for the Ravens. I think they trust, it seems like he's a healthy scratch for that particular game, but that means some. Tony Pollard is officially active, so just be aware of that. That's good to know. Breece Hall is active as well from what it looks like. Center for the Commanders is out today. That's not a good thing. Big loss for their offensive line. Dustin Hopkins is out for the Browns. So Riley Patterson's going to be kicking, but I'm not playing him. Riley Patterson should not be in your lineup if you are playing kickers. I do not see. Mikhail Corley is out for the Jets. Tyler Conklin is out for the Jets. So you can't play Tyler Conklin today. Tony Pollard is out, is active. So Tony Pollard is good to go. Dernis Johnson is out for the Jaguars, so it looks like Tank Dell Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne are good to go. That's good. Haven't seen. Yep, got Breece Hall officially active. And then Zane Gonzalez is out. He's going to be so Commanders kicker is out. Zane Gonzalez, they're going to replace him with Greg Joseph versus the Saints. So just know that if you're in a kicking league. Don't worry, everybody in the chat. I'm going to get to you in just a second. Just getting through these particular actives and inactives. But right now, everything looks good from what I can see. All right. Cool beans. So we got all the news and notes we got. I'm still going to play Darnell Mooney here. I like the matchup. I think he can do well in this there, Will Hayes. Marcos goes, I had Cooper and Jennings start for my playoff matchup. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Now I need explosive numbers. This is a half PPR. Pick 2. Awesome. Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, or Trey McBride. Well, the abundance of riches that you have. Devontae Adams is, you have to start Devontae Adams. I'm sorry. It's a good matchup for him. The way that he's been playing the last few weeks, I understand he's tethered to a bad Jets offense, but he's been playing pretty well considering that. If you look at his numbers since week 10, 13, 7, 12, 11 targets. He's not getting the quality target of the, back when they were in the, as a Packer, but he's getting 6, 6, 5, 9 receptions for the last 4 weeks. He has 2 touchdowns. This is a good matchup versus the Jags. Jags are currently, since week 10, 19th against the wide receiver. I mean, it's hard not to play Devontae Adams. The other 3 are a lot harder to pick from. I don't trust Breece Hall. He's out. Jonathan Taylor is the only other guy that I would probably play. It's very hard for me to suggest to play a guy like Trey McBride in your flex. My assumption is that you already had somebody play, which would be George Kittle, but you didn't mention him. So I would be playing Trey McBride over anybody else that you have in your particular flex, or not in your flex, in your tight end position there. But I think I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor, and it's really only because he has more guarantee touch in this, and he has more guarantee for volume, even though I'm sitting him in one league that I have. But I sat him over a guy like Courtland Sutton. So there's a big difference there. And I'm sitting him over a guy like James Cook. So I feel a little bit better about Jonathan Taylor than I do. I feel a lot better about a guy like Jonathan Taylor over a guy like Breece Hall, just because of his scenario. Trey McBride, it's hard for me to do unless it's full PPR. So I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor and Devontae Adams. Dangerous Toys. What's going on, brother? He goes 10-team full PPR. Need to win. We all do. Judy, Mixon, Irvin in the flex. So I'm assuming you want one, and the answer is Mixon. The answer is Mixon. Don't try to, don't be cute. This is Joe Mixon. You play Mixon until the wheels fall off. Full PPR too. I don't care about Jerry Jeudy in the last few weeks. He has a crappy weather game. Irvin is hurt. Mixon. It's Mixon even with them both healthy. Marcus goes, pick one for my flex. Ray McLeod, Joshua Palmer, Yoshi Voss, and Devon Vile. It's Ray. Wow. It's Ray McLeod. I like Ray McLeod the last few weeks. He's been playing very well, especially for full PPR. Joshua Palmer is an interesting one. I would it's definitely between Ray and Josh Palmer. The other two, unfortunately, I can't really trust. Being the number 2 or 3 in those offenses don't help. But being the number 3 wide receiver in Atlanta does. He's been playing very well the last few weeks. And I trust that matchup now that I don't have Max Crosby. Yeah, it sucks that Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing up to par. I do like the quarterback situation for Joshua Palmer, but with Ladd McConkey active, most likely, I feel a lot better about Ray in that, matchup. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Ray McLeod for that particular answer, especially for full PPR. Neanderthal goes, I also have Nick Westbrook-Akine on that team that you mentioned before with Dell Kincaid. Then I'm going Nick Westbrook-Akine. Standard league always has touchdowns. So for those that don't play standard, touchdowns are king. Yardage matters to a point, but catching the ball doesn't. It's the touchdown. For a guy that's been putting up 8 touchdowns this year and has been consistent other than last week, I mean, Nick Westbrook, and in a decent matchup this week against the Bengals, it looks like they're going to have to throw the ball. Nick Westbrook. D's nuts. I like it. He goes, need a flex. Full PPR. McConkey, Waddle, Thielen, Breece Hall, James Cook. Ew. If I'm flexing one of these guys, it's McConkey. If he's healthy, the problem is that McConkey plays at 4. All the signs point to him playing. The problem is if he doesn't. I'm anticipating he plays based on all the reports that I'm getting. I like Thielen as a pivot, but Thielen's playing at 1 o'clock. If you go with McConkey, you can pivot to James Cook. So that's the only caveat to that, because Dolphins play at 1, Jets play at 1. If you go McConkey, then you can pivot to James Cook if anything changes, and I'm okay with that pivot. But I like Thielen better than most of these guys because he's healthy. I don't really like playing guys that are hurt unless I have no other options. This is the playoffs. I want my best outcomes, and the best outcome comes when they're healthy, and not with the ability to possibly re-aggravate or be limited. The matchup I'm okay with against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers have been beat through the air the last few weeks. They are currently 16th against wide receivers. So I don't hate the matchup. I prefer Thielen a little bit just because Thielen's a huge, like, I have Thielen and or James Cook today, and I'm more than likely playing Thielen. I like Thielen's particular matchup against Dallas. Trayvon Diggs is out. Micah Parsons is banged up. The last few weeks, they've been showing Micah Parsons on the sideline, and he just looks miserable. He's out there busting his ass every freaking play, but every freaking time you see him on the sideline, and he just looks absolutely gassed, and he just doesn't look like himself. So I'm just not for it. Just got a report from Ian Rappaport. Kenneth Walker won't play tonight in the Sunday Night Football game against the Packers. It's just confirmed. He was doubtful prior, so we all kind of figured doubtful still means there's a chance. There's like I forgot the numbers that are involved. I think it's a 25% chance or something like that. And questionable is 50 or something. Either way, it just proves that in this case he is not going to play. So I am taking him out, and I am playing. I have too much of Zach Charbonnet. Well, I don't actually. I only have him in 1 league, but I have him ranked so high, and I've been talking him up that I can't not. He is number 10 in my rankings this week. But back to your question, D's nuts. I think it's McConkey, and then you pivot to Cook, but I do like Thielen because of the matchup. I think I might lean more Thielen. I think, yeah, I'm talking myself back and forth. I'm going to go Thielen here. I'm just going to make a final decision. I'm going to go with Thielen. And then if you lose out on McConkey, you lose out. The other three are, with Waddle, Brees, and it's just, I can't. And if I'm playing Thielen over somebody else, I got to do it. Marcus goes pick 2. Full PPR. Sincere McCormick, Mike Evans, Mari Cooper, Westbrook, Nakine. Mike Evans for sure. I like Mike Evans today. I like Mike Evans most weeks. And it's probably going to be Sincere McCormick for me. Involved. I like it. Marcus asks, Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold full PPR 5-point passing touchdown, which is a little different than what I'm used to. I have 5-point. I'm in a 5-point touchdown league, and it's interesting. Let's look at matchups and numbers and all that. Sam Darnold has a reasonably decent matchup. He's been playing out of his mind lately. It's hard for me to pick a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who, even if he's going against a good, a reasonable offense. I have Sam Darnold at 10 and Aaron Rodgers at 17. I'm going to go Sam Darnold. Going to go. Oh, shit. Sorry. Oh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the super chat. He goes start 2, and I'm gonna butcher your name. I can see vlog though. If you can help me out with how to say that, I would greatly appreciate that. But thank you so much for the super chat. He goes start 2, AJ Brown, Kamara, and Donald. Wow, Rico Dowdle. I'm gonna go Kamara and Rico. He says it's half PPR and projected to be very similar in points to my opponent. I have Hurts and a lot of other upside in my roster with Gibbs, Nico, and JJ. Oh, that's a great. Wow, love the roster. I have Nico and JJ in one league too, with Monty. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get all 3, but good for you that you were. Yeah, I'm gonna go Kamara and Dottle here with a half PPR scoring. I like AJ Brown. I'm not gonna lie, but he hasn't been as, I mean, the squeaky. Yeah, if you want to go with the squeaky, squeaky wheel gets the grease type scenario, then it might be a little bit more leaning towards Brown, and then it would be probably Kamara. The matchup is tough. The matchup's tough here, just because. Wait, Joe's chiming in with over Gibbs. No way, Mike. Yeah, no. No. Let's be clear. It's Gibbs over Donald without a question. I haven't said that over any of these guys. He's saying to start 2 of these 3. None of them over Gibbs. Gibbs is a lock for him already. So yeah, I was gonna say he's starting Gibbs already. So Gibbs is a lock. Nico Collins is a lock. JJ is a lock. He's trying to find his 2 flex spots, which I get. I like Camaro and Dottle, especially for half PPR. I prefer going with the running back in most situations, especially for a passing down running back. Yeah, no, it's all good, Joe. In most situations like that, I'm going to go with the running back, and it's really just because they have more guaranteed of a target, and Rico Dowdle and Kamara are both heavily involved in the passing game, to the point where I don't really think it really matters what A.J. Brown does, even in his particular matchup. He is going to be going against Joey Porter Jr., who has been playing pretty well the last few weeks and has shut down a couple of guys. I don't mind A.J. Brown. Love the guy. I think he's going to get heavily involved today. But it would probably be Brown and Kamara is like where I'm a little bit more leaning, just because of the squeaky wheel and all that. I would definitely have Brown and Kamara ranked higher than Dottle. But I like Dottle's matchup against Carolina, so I understand why you want to use him. And the last few weeks, he's been heavily involved in that offense with running the ball. I have Dottle currently. Where am I? I have him at 17 in my rankings. Rico Dottle has gotten 19, 22, and 18 attempts the last 3 weeks, and he has 1 touchdown in that particular few weeks. He's gone over 100 yards the last 2 weeks. He's had 3 targets, 3 receptions in 2 of the last 3 games. I mean, that's hard to ignore in these situations. While A.J. Brown, I have ranked 7th in a half PPR setting. He's been getting 8, 7, 6, and 4 the last few weeks. He has 1 touchdown in those 4 weeks and over 100 in 1 game against the Rams. And he even did poorly in a matchup that he should have done well. Just saying, I don't really hate that particular scenario. But like I said, squeaky wheel. He's been really against not getting the ball the last few weeks. I think they're going to have to get him involved. So for me, Kamara's a lock. It's really between Dottle and Brown. I have to go Brown here, even though I don't. I'm going to go Brown and Kamara there. So I hope that helps. I hope my whole thought process helped you out there. So I'm going to go Brown and Kamara there. Man, abundance of riches though. You have a really good team. Like what you're doing there. Let's find where I was. Darnold, Marco. Okay, cool. So Jose Rodriguez, what's going on, brother? He goes, hold on, just moving some stuff around. Jose goes 1 flex, 1 wide receiver. Okay. Connor, Evans, Lamb, AJ Brown, Dottle, Hall. Jesus Christ. You guys have an abundance of riches. Any given week, I would tell you Lamb and AJ Brown. So I think I'm going to stick with that. Lamb and AJ Brown. You didn't tell me if it was full or half, but I'm assuming it's full. So my assumption is it's going to be Lamb and AJ Brown. In most scenarios, I'm going to tell you that either way. I think Hall, Evans, Dottle, I think they're all kind of, it's going to be a tough matchup for all of them, but I like Lamb and Dottle here. Chambers, what's going on, man? He goes Hunter Henry or Jake Ferguson. That's a really good one. I have them pretty ranked close to each other in my rankings right now. I have Ferguson, 13 and 14 right next to each other. So for me, it's a coin flip and the matchup that you like more. Matchup for the tight end for these particular teams. Carolina has been poor, 23 against the tight end, while Cardinals are 7th. They do have Budda Baker. Hard part is for Jake Ferguson, they have their full complement of passing options. Brandon Cooks has been playing a little bit better as of late. CeeDee Lamb's there. Unfortunately, you have Cooper Rush throwing you the ball. But do you like Cooper Rush or Drake May? Drake May has been getting Hunter Henry a lot more involved as of late. Numbers-wise, you have Hunter Henry has been putting up the last few weeks 9, 8, and 9 in targets, 6, 5, 7 in receptions. Has caught more than 40 yards each game. No touchdowns yet. Only has 1 on the year. Jake Ferguson hasn't been playing, and he really hasn't been doing great the last few weeks. He's coming back from injury, but first game back from injury, he had 6 targets for 3 receptions for 32. I like Hunter just a smidge better. So I'm going to go Hunter Henry here. Braden Powell, what's going on, man? He goes start 2. He goes London, Sutton, Addison, Brandon Thomas Jr., Aaron Rodgers, James Conner, Neighbors. Holy shit. For me, that's a tough one for me. Sutton and Addison. I think it's Sutton and Addison. But I think I like London just a smidge more with the Crosby news. So, oh man, that's a tough one. Way to give the way to have an abundance of riches. Holy shit. I have Cortland Sutton at 11, Drake London at 11, and I have Addison at 25, Brandon Thomas Jr. at 23. The other guys, it's hard for me to tell you to play Aaron Jones and James Conner in these matchups. Cortland Sutton is a lock for me. Yeah, I'm going to go Cortland Sutton in London. Yeah, I like those. We answered his. Let's go to All in One Show. What's going? Oh, Dangerous Toys. Thank you. I didn't mention this as well. Cade Stover for the Texans is out. He had an appendectomy today. He had appendicitis and had to get it cut out. No problem, Vog. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. He goes Kamara and Dottle feel safest. AJ Brown could feast, but if he doesn't, it probably means Hurts had a bad game and I'm screwed at 2 positions. 100%. I don't disagree with you. So that's why I feel a little bit better. Like if you're asking me for like, they are definitely the safest play. They have the highest floor for all of your particular scenarios. AJ Brown is your ceiling play. So if you are down right now, if you're down currently, you need to play a guy like AJ Brown. But you're in a situation that it looks like you are really favored. Alvin Kamara and Dottle are probably your best bet just because it's safer. So I definitely agree. I'm the safer play guy. Always am. If you watch the show enough, if you're new to the show, I hope that you like and subscribe. But I am one to play it safe in most scenarios. Anthony's the other way. So all in one show, he goes pick 1 flex, full PPR, London, Higgins, or Connor. Ooh. Oh, this is a tough one for me. Patriots, I like the Patriots in this matchup. Or I don't hate the Patriots in this matchup. But I do like James Conner. New England's third best against running backs since week 10. They're currently giving up roughly 15 points, but that's for 2 running backs, not for 1 in most scenarios. I don't hate Connor, but I don't like him in those other scenarios. I don't like Connor. So all in one, I don't like them because of the other options that are available for those particular spots. So if we go back to that question, London, Sutton, Addison, Brian Thomas Jr., Aaron Jones, James Conner, and Neighbors, I prefer playing the guys that have been on a freaking heater. Sutton and London have, I mean, London's going to be in a better scenario. Addison has been on fire lately. Going against the Bears might be a little bit different, even though the Bears are pretty poor in defensive situations. They are good in the secondary. If I'm both Aaron Jones and James Conner in that particular situation have a better, safer floor, I think you want the better guys in your flex spot, like London and Sutton, over a guy like James Conner. I just can't play James Conner over those guys. But in your particular scenario, I can play London and Connor and feel more. I feel a lot better about these two in your situation, especially for full PPR. So this matchup is not great for Connor. I do think this is a trap game for the Cardinals, even though the Cardinals are 6-7. It's one of those scenarios that the Cardinals are favored by 6. They're coming. The Patriots are coming off a bye. This is at home, so that's their only advantage. And James Conner, I don't hate because they're favored by 6. So I don't hate James Conner. I just don't like his scenario compared to the other 2 or the other, 3 or 4 that he mentioned. But here for yours, London, Connor, no problem. I like those. Marcus, he goes Keenan Allen, Josh Downs, or Pat Freiermuth, full PPR, tight end premium. All right. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm not a big fan of Keenan Allen. I liked him prior to this season, but being tethered to a guy like Caleb Williams has really not been ideal. I have him ranked at 34 in full PPR. Numbers the last few weeks, he was in wide receiver 8, 2, and then 57. Yeah, that's why it's hard. He seems to be volatile the last few weeks. Did well against Detroit, did well against Minnesota, which is, I think most teams have been doing good against the passing options in Minnesota, especially with Stephon Gilmore being out. But the last few weeks, 3 for 5 for 30 yards. So it's hard for me to play a guy like Keenan Allen. Josh Downs is unfortunately in a very bad scenario. Just because he can either go for Josh Downs is another volatile guy that can just I had him originally at like wide receiver like 50 or something like that, coming back from injury. If you look at his numbers, he was 27, 13, and 6 before his injury. So 10, 11, and 12. He has been a top 10 wide receiver, but he's been as low as a 110 or 101. So I think Freiermuth is definitely a safer option. Been a little bit more involved the last few weeks with Russell Wilson behind center. They are going against the Eagles. They're going to have to pass the ball a little bit. Last 3 weeks, it's been 4, 7, and 3 in targets, 4, 6, and 3 in receptions with 2 touchdowns. If it's tight end premium, I might lean Pat Freiermuth just because the tight end premium definitely puts him over the top. Jose goes, who do you play, Hall over Connor? I would play Connor over Hall all day long. I don't trust Breece Hall's situation. I don't. He had a full practice on Friday. He's been optimistic to play. He spent most of the week resting after having a full week off prior to that. I just don't trust this scenario or them to give him his full complement of touches. They saw what they had with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis last week. Isaiah Davis had a really good game. They could involve him a little bit more in the passing game. They might throw out Braylon Allen a little bit more. I just think that this is going to be more of a running back by committee for Breece Hall comparatively to James Conner, who really doesn't have anybody but Benson behind him because Mario DiMarcano, I can't say his fucking last name. He's going to be out. So I just prefer Conner over Hall all day long. Ray W., what's going on, Ray? Big Giants fan, love it. He goes, Mike, 3 bye weeks and 1 6 seed. Good for you, brother. I wish I was in a bye week. My home league never has a bye week, so this is our playoff week. We always have playoffs in week 16 and 17. So we always lead up to that, but I'm in second place in that league. In my Dynasty league, I'm in second too. So those 2 leagues don't get into the playoffs till this week. So we never have bye weeks. But my other leagues that I've been in do, and I am currently in 4th in those 2 leagues. So I'm playing for my life here. He goes McCormick, Reed, or Jamison Williams, full PPR. Reed is out for me. I don't hate JMO. McCormick is safer. JMO is a situation that you played a guy like Cooper Kupp and you need upside and you need to really do well. So Jamison Williams is that guy. Sincere McCormick is a safer play, much safer. They're going to have to lean on him because you have Desmond Ridder if Aiden O'Connell doesn't play. So, I mean, wow, this is a tough one for me. So I'll give you perspective. So right now I have Sincere McCormick at running back 24. So he's a running back 2 for me right now. Jamison Williams I have at running back 37. So they are pretty comparable in my opinion, just because of how close they are. I'm going to go with McCormick just because it's a safer play. I do understand that Jamison Williams had a good game last week. I feel a lot safer with McCormick because he's guaranteed those touches. They already said that he's going to be the lead back and so on and so forth, or the lead running back. So, thoughts on Scary? Good old Scary Terry. I'm playing him. I'm playing him today. Coming off the bye, they're healthy. Going against the Saints, beat up. No, their quarterback. I don't understand why they're playing Hainer and they're not playing Spencer Rattler. To me, that game is out of control with the 7.5 right now. For that particular line, I'm playing Terry all day long. So, all in show. He goes, I already played Puka and Jennings, so you did one and not great in the other. Do you lean London more with Jennings having a dud? Yeah. I like London. I like London this week. I like the concept of what he has the last few weeks and what he's been doing with Cousins, even with Kirk Cousins playing like dog shit. He's been getting the most out of it. He had, since week 10, 13, 7, 16, and 10 in targets. Now, of course, the quality of target sucks because he's gotten 8, 3, 9, and 5. So currently, I mean, that's less than half or just around half of the targets are uncatchable in this case. He's put up more than 60 yards a game. He hasn't had a touchdown since week 9, but he's heavily involved in full PPR leagues. He's hard to sit. You know, you get 12 points from him last week. You get 27. No. You get 17 points the week prior. Like, he's been consistently doing okay for you. 9 the week, before that, 17 the week prior. So he's had wide receiver 3 finishes the last few weeks. I just like him a little bit better in those scenarios. So yeah, got to go that way. He says, I have Gibbs and Jacobs starting. Yeah, I would too. I have Gibbs and Jacobs starting in a lot of different leagues. Listen to Joe here. Please make sure you guys are liking and subscribing if you haven't already. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us today. But please make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Make sure you guys are commenting as well. We haven't had a lot of comments. I like those comments. We always respond when we see them. So make sure you guys are commenting to the videos as well. Let us know if you guys are winning your leagues. Make sure you guys let people know that we are helping you guys win those particular leagues if we're helping you. So appreciate it. Ray W goes, Knicks or Mahomes? The answer is going to be Knicks until the end of time. I don't like Mahomes. His situation's tough today. The weather is going to be tough. Knicks has been playing out of his mind. He has a good matchup today overall against the Colts. I like Knicks until further notice. This one's a little tougher for me, but I like Broncos defense versus Anthony Richardson. They've been playing real well as of late. So I'm going to go with, sorry, my phone gets overloaded with notifications during this time, and I always double check everything to make sure that I'm not missing anything, even with my my own home life. So Ray, I'm going Broncos D for sure. Broncos until further notice. 3P 1C fail. What's going on, brother? Great to see you back. Hope everything is going well. Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray? I like it. I like the question. Let's see where I have him ranked. So Kyler Murray I have at 9. I have Justin Herbert at 12. So they're pretty comparable in where they are. Matchup wise, I like New England. I like that matchup a little bit better. Right now, New England is currently 27th against the QB. So I do like Kyler. It has been a double XP weekend, for those that play Call of Duty. And he does. Yeah, he's been known to have a very bad end of the year because of what Call of Duty does. But that aside, Chargers going against the Bucks. Bucks are very beatable through the air. They're favored by 3. He's playing through some injuries himself. I prefer going with Kyler Murray here just because I feel it's a little bit safer. He has a higher rushing floor. I'm going to go Kyler Murray. Man, I should have put Drake London on the thumbnail. So full PPR. So you lost Kenneth Walker Jr. This week. Need upside as I'm down against a good team. All right. So he needs upside. So one flex, one tight end out of J-Mo and Devontae Smith, and then Ertz, Schultz, or Freiermuth. Thanks in advance. Dylan, always a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. I like Jameson Williams. I think he can have a good game today. The over-under is helpful just because with 54.5. I know that I've talked it down a lot, that it could be, one way or another. That's my own theory of what they should do if I was that team. Realistically, J-Mo's been involved the last few weeks. Devontae Smith has been hurt and coming off of bad games from Jalen Hurts, who hasn't been doing as well as people want him to. He's been running the ball a lot the last few weeks. Devontae Smith has the last few weeks. He's still at a steady target share. So he's definitely a safe play, which is not what you're looking for. J-Mo is definitely an upside play over a guy like Devontae Smith. But Devontae Smith, since week 9, 6'3", 6'6", so consistently with 6 targets, 4 catches. That seems to be his bread and butter. He has 2 touchdowns on that particular set of games. So that's not horrible stats. Like I said, a very safe play. But since we're not looking for safe here, we're looking for upside. I'm going to look at JMO's stats real quick. 7, 7, 8, 5, 3, 2, 1 touchdown. My bad. Everything's kind of jumbled here. I'm going to go JMO. Going to still go JMO since week 11, 6, 7, 7, 8 with 4, 5, 5, 5 in catches, over 20. Well, I'm going to bring it up, but over 60 yards in all those matchups. Yeah, I'm going to go JMO. And good luck to you, man. Good luck to everybody this week. Really excited for everybody. Hope everyone does well. Justin goes, sit 1, Lamb, Londoner. Oh my God. Why do you guys give me these? That's so gross. Oh my God. It's gross that you have this decision to make. Any given time, you would be jumping for joy. If I'm going based on rankings, I'm sitting London because I have AJ Brown at 7. I have CeeDee Lamb at 10. They're all good matchups. To give you perspective, JC Horn is active today for Carolina, who has been doing well against the wide receiver. Dallas's D is going to struggle a little bit today with Trayvon Diggs out. I think Carolina is better than what people are giving them credit for, even though they've only been doing the well the last few weeks. They kept the Chiefs in check. They kept the Eagles in check until the very end. So they've been doing very well overall. London's matchup I like better. AJ Brown, I don't like his matchup. Oh man, it's so hard to tell. Oh man, because I like London a little bit better because of Kirk Cousins. I am the exception to the rule. The rule is don't play Kirk Cousins this week, just because of how he's been playing the last few weeks. I like Kirk. I like Kirk and what he does. I mean, I have his nickname as if Classic was a quarterback. I mean, that's who I am, is Kirk Cousins. AJ Brown, the squeaky wheel. You want to go with that narrative? Go for it. He hasn't been doing great, but he's been doing better than what you would expect. 8, 7, 6, and 4. His targets have only gone down the last few weeks. But if you look at all the other stats, it was just kind of weird. He started with 10, out 3 weeks, then went 9, 5, 6, 4, then went back up to 7, 8, 9, and then he's going back down. This could be the week he goes up. And it seems like the weeks that he yells. So, I mean, the pass rush is really good for Pittsburgh going against a good line. So the line becomes negative factor in my opinion. Man, this is a really, really, really tough question. Brown, exactly. I like what Joe said here about they're squabbling lately. I know that Nick Sirianni has been. There was a report today about teamwork and trying to get them together. So there's definitely tension in that Eagles locker room. Man, you're giving me a tough one here, there, Justin, and I like it. This is harder to gauge than if you were to have like 2 guys at the bottom at 30. I'm assuming this is full PPR as well. If it was full PPR, I'm sitting AJ Brown over the other 2. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you could go wrong. I think all 3 are great options. It's really hard to pick from the 3 here. Yeah, full PPR. All right. I was going to say, if you have all 3 of these guys, I mean, good for you for drafting the way that you did. Holy shit. Must have gotten London in the 3rd, Lamb in the 1st, AJ Brown. You must have been at the turn. You must have been at the end of the I'm gonna take a guess. This is it's either a 10 or a 12 team. You were probably at 10 and you were able to get Lamb and Brown and then London at the 3 in the 3rd round coming back. Tell me if I'm right, because I'm kind of curious how you were able to get these 3 guys in a draft is quite amazing. Unless this is Dynasty and you were able to get these guys later, as like, the way that things work out. But this is too good. Oh, so you got Brown in a trade. Okay. So you got Brown in a trade, drafted the other 2. I don't remember the trade. It was like week 2. Oh, okay. Hey, good for you, man. That is a man. That is a tough one. That is a tough one. Yeah. A 3-team league. Yeah. I mean, man, that is, you can't go wrong with that lineup, man. I mean, good for you. I want to be in that league. I don't think you can go wrong here. If you want to go based on my rankings, it's London. If you are on the narrative of Eagles having a little bit of doubt, go Brown. I think in this case, Lamb is kind of a lock. I think Lamb is the more consistent of these 3. London, I think, can do well in a full PPR league over a guy like Brown. He has a better matchup. Just because of the matchup, I might lean sitting Brown over London, because the Raiders matchup for me, they are currently full PPR. Hold on. I'm just getting all my numbers. Yeah. I can't sit London this week against the Raiders. 31 overall against wide receivers. 31st best against wide receivers. No Max Crosby. That factors in for me. It's a 10-team home league. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I have Nico Collins, Justin Jefferson, and I traded for Drake London. So I can understand. And I drafted Justin Jefferson in the 1st. I had Nico Collins as a keeper in the 11th. So lucky me. And that's a keeper league for me. Where are you? Where's your question? There it is. I think I'm going to sit Brown here, even though I have him ranked higher. I think Lamb is the consistent, so you can't not. He's right in the middle. London, I think, is in for a good matchup, even though I think his quarterback has been having a rough day lately. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that all worked out. So, yeah. Marcos, Ramondre Stevenson, or Najee? Ramondre. Easy for me. Thoughts on starting Metcalf? Hasn't been great lately and really deviating or devastating if he's worth starting. Yeah. He's more of a wide receiver 2 for me. High-end wide receiver 2. He definitely has upside for wide receiver 1 on any given week. Going against Packers, they are home, which is a good thing. I don't remember let me just double check something real quick. Oh, Jair's out. I like him this week then. I like Metcalf this week against Jair. I had to double check Jair. If Jair's out for any reason, I like it a little better. Just because he has more opportunity to get open. JSN is the lead wide receiver there. Plain and simple. It's 1A, 1B. But Metcalf will be involved. I think you're going to be okay this week. Don't stress too much. Perry W. Good old Perry Williams. He goes, yo, Mike, happy belated birthday. Brother, my birthday was the 12th. Oh, happy belated to you as well, my friend. Yes, my birthday was 2 weeks ago. So, well, a week ago. Whatever the 4th was. So happy belated birthday to you as well there, Perry. He goes flex 2. Bowers, McBride, Brian Robinson, Hopkins, BTJ, and Jonnu. All right. So Perry, gotta give me a little help here. Need to know full PPR, tight end premium. Justin, appreciate it. He goes, I'm leaning sitting Brown. And he goes, appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm leaning the same way, brother. It's a tough scenario, but yeah. Flex 2, Bowers, McBride, Brian Robinson, Hopkins, BTJ, or Jonnu. You have 3 awesome tight ends. It's full and no T. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember this league. Yeah. McBride, Jonnu, and I don't know how much I can trust Bowers with Ritter, to be honest. And Brian Robinson. So I'm going to go McBride, Brian Robinson, and Jonnu. I like those. Chiefs or Broncos? It's got to be the Broncos, right? Bad weather game for the Chiefs, low scoring, 41.5 comparatively. Broncos, 43. Bad weather, away game, sacks. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here, actually. I'm going to go to the Chiefs. Ray goes, is Bucky playing? As of right now, there has been no report stating that he isn't. It is a 4:30 game. I don't know. He's expected to play as per Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. So for me, I'm assuming he's playing, but he is banged up. He's really banged up. Back and hip. I might want to pivot. I'm pivoting in one league. I'm playing Jameson Williams over him. Like I have a league where I had Isaiah Garendo, Mixon, Harris, and I had Isaiah Garendo, Mixon, and then I had Braylon Allen. I was waiting on Najee Harris and Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving dropped in his in his projections. I'm not playing Bucky this week. I'm a little nervous about his injury. Chargers are a decent defense. I think I would pivot if you had a better scenario. That's just me. Perry Williams, Laporta, Ertz, or Kincaid. Good luck to all my playoff brothers in here. Of course, if you're here, I'm hoping you're in the playoffs. If not, it's okay. We have next year. I'm going to go Laporta. I like Laporta a lot better than these three. So I'm going to go Laporta for sure. So Perry goes, before Rice got hurt, I had a wide receiving core of Justin Jefferson, London, Rashid Rice. Oh, well, I did too. I had Nico Collins, JJ, and Rashid Rice leading up, and then I drafted, then I traded for London near the trade deadline. And then he goes, BTJ drafted all of them. Wish BTJ had a gunslinger because he's special. Yeah, I agree. Paul, what's going on, Paul? Great to have you here. He goes, Devontae Smith or Ramondre Stevenson, full point PPR. I think I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson here, and it's really just because of the fact that he is healthy. I like the matchup overall. Arizona has been doing not great against the running back the last few weeks. They are 24th against the running back since week 10. So I do like Stevenson in this matchup. So I think I'm going to go with Stevenson. Just based on what's going on in Philadelphia, it's hard to say. Smith is a safer play just because his floor seems to be a little bit nicer. But Stevenson is involved in the passing game just as much. He is guaranteed. I don't say guaranteed for a touchdown, but I think that he has a higher opportunity for one because we can't predict touchdowns. So yeah. Joe Def, what's going on, brother? He goes, Njoku out, need a tight end, likely Smart or Calaterra. I like all of them. I like likely. The matchup's good. But it's one of those scenarios where, like an abundance of riches, they might have to spread it out. Just know in this particular matchup, since it's what is it? 16.5. Oh, it's gone up. 16.5. I think Banks is out too for the Giants. This is going to be a tough one. Teams don't. I think if I looked correctly, the Giants have actually been doing well against tight ends, but it's more because of the fact that teams don't need to throw it at tight end because they're pretty much running the ball near the end of the game. I like Smart. I think Smart has been involved. Calaterra has also been involved, but going against Mika Fitzpatrick, I like Smart out of these guys. So I'm going to go Smart here. I think I would. Let me see where I have him ranked. I most likely have ahead of all of them, but that's really because I go off of I have likely above all of them, but it's more because I use consensus prior to. I have Caliterra and Smart roughly around the same. Yeah, I'm gonna go Smart here. I like Smart. And I gotta adjust all my rankings here. So Ray goes, I'm benching Reed, so use him because he's gonna go off. Hey man, it's crazy the amount that happens for me. Yeah. Perry goes, you're the man, Mike. Love coming here Fridays and Sunday. The last 3 years, you're my go-to guy on Sundays. I appreciate that, Perry. It's always a pleasure having you here, and always a pleasure to speak to you guys every week. So I hope everyone is enjoying the show. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing if you haven't already. A Train 4519. What's going on, man? He goes, CeeDee Lamb or Jacoby Meyer and Tank Dell or Warren. Think about running back for a second spot. So A Train, let me know what tank you're talking about. If it's Tank Dell or Tank Bigsby, just need to have a better understanding of which one it is. I'm probably gonna tell you CeeDee Lamb, just because I think, well, CeeDee Lamb for sure. Oh, this is for a running back spot. Got it. So it is Tank Dell or Tank Bigsby. I'm gonna go CD and Tank for these two. CD and Tank. So if you're doing this, Ray, with Bucky McCormick and Jameson Williams, I like McCormick just because he's safer. McCormick's safer. Jameson is more of a ceiling play. So if you had like Cooper Kupp, I would probably play JMO. If you didn't and you're like you're favored, I'd probably play McCormick. It's just a safer floor. JMO can go off though. So I like both those guys, but I can't play Bucky. Bucky's in a tough scenario. If he goes off, I'm sorry, but it's one of those scenarios. Yeah, okay, so it's Bigsby. I'm still doing Bigsby and CeeDee Lamb. But yeah, for this, I'm still going McCormick and Jameson Williams. Or sorry, I'm gonna go McCormick. McCormick over JMO. But like I said, if you need a little bit of upside, there you go. Appreciate it, Perry. So Rafi goes, he's sitting Bucky. Start Vial. I always get his name wrong. Vial, Isaiah Davis, or McMillan. I like McMillan, but that matchup's tough. They're going to be down. They're going to have to pass a little bit. Denver's up. Yeah, let's go McMillan. I'm usually one to pick the running back, but I don't know how that Jets. It's going to be a weird scenario. But I always like Vidal. I like him in a lot of scenarios, but I prefer, a little more guarantee. They're both the number 2, McMillan and him. Yeah, I'm going to go McMillan. He's been playing pretty well the last few weeks. Kelsey or Ertz? Ew. The answer is ew. Ertz is 10th. I have Kelsey at 4. I think they're going to have to rely on Kelsey today, just because of the weather. They're going to have to keep everything underneath. So I'm going to go Kelsey here. Oh, Perry, we might need I need another hour for this one. So in your opinion, who do you think the Giants should draft? I say, why let Hunter go to the Pats? I don't think these QBs are amazing. I 100% agree. So I had a very interesting discussion with a Giants fan on Twitter the other day. He posted about the concept of Sanders throwing the ball with Malik Neighbors at the Heisman ceremony, and I sat there and I'm like, yeah, and the quote of the repost, the quote that the guy had was, "I hope we have this guy," and I'm like, why? Like, I hope we don't. I don't want Sanders. I really don't. I don't care if the Giants, like I don't see that happening. Now, there's a lot of different factors onto why I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not a big fan of Cam Ward either. I just don't think this particular draft class is good. I think Cam Ward, if we're going to go quarterback, I think Cam Ward is the safer of the group. I like his particular demeanor and who he is and the general concept of what we're getting. I'm not a big fan of him, but I'm not a big fan of these quarterbacks in this particular draft class. I think that this particular draft class that we had this year, we'll never see again for another 10 years. So I think it's very hard for me to like go, oh, let's go one of these guys. No, I don't disagree. Travis Hunter might be a good pick, but I don't know what to do. I load up on offensive linemen and then see what happens from there. But I mean, honestly, I don't know. I just don't like Sanders. I'm just not a big fan of him. I don't think I don't think he translate well in the NFL. I think he's been babied by his dad. He's always had that particular scenario. I think he's entitled, in my own opinion. I understand that he might not be, and he might be a well-versed, player and all that stuff. I think he's babied by his dad. He hasn't played with any other coach but his dad. He hasn't played any top teams. If you look at his stats versus the teams that are currently in the playoffs, he's faced 2 of them. And one of them was Oregon, and he got destroyed by them. He also won against Arizona State, but that's about it. And Arizona State is ranked 12th out of that group. So it's one of those things where I just don't think I don't think he's played enough in big games to be really effective. And even with his stats at 3,900 yards and 38 touchdowns and whatever, great. Guess who else had all these wonderful stats as well? Like Jamarcus Russell had decent stats like that. Johnny Manziel had decent stats like that. I could go through a whole slew of quarterbacks that were drafted in the first few rounds that had situations like that. For me, he doesn't show me anything on tape that makes him feel like he is that special. Travis Hunter is special. I think he's a really good receiver. I think he has the ability to do well. I just honestly I don't want him. I really don't. And I don't think he's going to come here. I think everything is going to fall into the way of him going to the Raiders one way or another. And you can say that, Dion denied it in the last 3 days. He said that I didn't say that. Well, yeah, you did. You said it last year. I mean, come on. You have him with, Tom Brady and, all that. Nah, just stop your bullshit. You are affecting his life in one way or another. It's ridiculous. So Ray goes, I'm overthinking now. Mooney, JMO, or Quincy Johnson full. I have London. I don't care. It would be between Mooney and Williams, but these guys, Kirk can throw for 50, but I hope you don't have to. So I think JMO is probably your better option over Mooney, but I do like Mooney in this matchup. So I think you can't go wrong with one of those two. You can't play Quincy Johnson. So it's definitely between Mooney and JMO. I'm going to lean JMO just because of his matchup. Rafi goes McCormick, ETN, Vidal, or Quincy. It's McCormick. Cam, what's going on, brother? Great to have you here. If you're new to the show, please make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. He goes pick 2 at the flex this week, but drop 1 for rest of the season because Downs is back off IR. So JSN, Brian Robinson Jr., Thielen, Flowers, Downs, Hopkins. All right, so pick 2 at the flex. JSN is a lock. Brian Robinson Jr. is my next guy. Thielen is another candidate that I like as well. Maybe even Flowers too, to be honest. If I'm dropping somebody out of this, it's probably going to be Downs. I like everybody else in this particular group other than Downs. I have Downs in a league, but it's really I have so many other options. And he's kind of the last man on the totem pole, if you will. So for me, it's Downs. I'm definitely dropping him regardless, or keep him on IR. If you have a scenario, okay, I'm gonna just say this: if you have a scenario where your team is pretty good right now, and you have a guy like Downs on your particular IR, go with it. What you do is you put in your waiver claim on Tuesday, or actually what I do is I put waiver claims in on Monday. Because what you do is if you do it on Monday, it won't ask you to remove Downs from the particular IR spot. So you got to do it in game, like up to Monday. Sometimes I do it Sunday during the games, and I'll add waiver claims to what I want for next week. But the thing is then you can keep Downs as your IR guy, and you don't have to drop anyone. Just a thought. So Cam's going leaning JSN and B Rob, but drop Hopkins. League playoffs are 16, 17, 18. Oh, you guys go to 18? Ew. Sorry. I hate playing week 18. I don't hate that, but I like Hopkins a little bit more. With Hollywood coming back, he might take a step back, but he's been heavily involved in touchdowns, so it's hard to. I think Downs is the low man out if you're going to drop anybody. I really do. I think it's Downs. So Perry goes, Dylan Gabriel is the safest of the group, in my opinion. He's just small. Yeah. Or Monroe, never pass. Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about everything about the Giants here. He goes, I would take Hunter and then a vet. Yeah. I'd rather try to go for a guy like Sam Darnold or whoever else is available as a free agent. Rather go with the free agent and just this is really a bridge year. So I could talk for hours about it. Walful, what's going on? He goes, do you think Kyler and Marv have a bounce back game today? I don't think Marv does. I think Kyler might. I know that they're both tied, together. Honestly, I've been disappointed in what Marvin Harrison Jr. has been doing the last few weeks. Just give me a second. I have too many tabs open. So let's go to week 10. Let's go to week 10 real quick. Let's go to Harrison. He's wide receiver 34. Now, I mean, to give perspective, a guy like Nico Collins is at wide receiver 35. But I was just going to say, he can't really separate that well. He hasn't been doing as good as what people thought he would. He is a physical freak in his own right, but he's going to have a rough game. This particular game going against the Patriots. Patriots are currently, where are they? If they're not up, they're down. But if they're not down, they're in the middle. Yeah, they're about 20th against the wide receiver. So it's one of those scenarios where I don't know if he'll be back to like that one game where they went freaking off together. Could they? Of course. They need to get him more involved. But the problem is that Kyler gets scared to go deep and then he goes right to McBride. So yeah. Oh, Jonathan, what's going on? Sorry, I almost missed you. He goes full PPR, Ramondre or Bucky? Ramondre for sure. Yeah. I would just prefer Ramondre just because of the injury. Cam goes, how can I not drop someone when Downs isn't out anymore? He's questionable. So in order to make roster moves after last week's bye, Sleeper makes you put players no longer eligible in the IR. Yes, but here's the thing. It gives you the alert, but it makes it so that you can't make any other roster moves. So that's the whole point I'm trying to make. You can still make a roster move for a waiver claim. They will let you waiver in somebody, but then they're going to still ask you to drop somebody after the waiver. And I've had that happen too. I do it a little bit more in Yahoo than I do in Sleeper. But even though it gives you the claim, if you can't put in a claim for the guy because he's questionable, then I would just drop Downs. This is the playoffs. If you're in the playoffs in any way, shape, or form, and the team that you had that before, that's a good-looking team. Downs is the bottom of the barrel of that group. in my opinion. You have a lot of healthy players that are doing well. You have JSN, who's been outstanding, top 10 wide receiver the last 4 weeks. Brian Robinson Jr. is a solid running back out of that group. Adam Thielen coming back in playing very well in PPR leagues. Flowers has a great end of season. And DeAndre Hopkins, for better or worse, he's linked with Patrick Mahomes, and it makes him a better starter than somebody like Josh Downs, who unfortunately Anthony Richardson is not the best quarterback, and I'm not a big fan of him this season. He hasn't been playing to his potential. If you look at the last few weeks with DeAndre Hopkins, if you go from week 12 since Carolina, he has been wide receiver 18, 29, and 30. He's been a solid wide receiver 3. So, I'm sorry I'm skipping a bunch of people, but I'm still talking about Cam's here. He goes, I see Downs playing week 18 before Hopkins due to standings, and we have a week 18 matchup. Your thoughts? No, I completely understand that. I do. I really do. Let's just do a quick breakdown of their schedules real quick. Houston, Pittsburgh, Denver. Denver is the toughest matchup. I completely agree that in that particular scenario, Downs might be the better option. But Will, I'll help you. Don't worry. I got you, brother. But let's go to Downs real quick and look at his numbers and his schedule. He has a more favorable matchup, so I understand why you're leaning that way. So I'm not against it. You're not playing Downs today against Denver. But Tennessee, Giants, Jaguars, that's a favorable matchup. The quarterback is where I'm in between on it. I just don't trust Anthony Richardson. I trust Patrick Mahomes to get Hopkins involved in one way or another. If you look at the game logs of the last few weeks, now he didn't play week 13, he didn't play week 14. But if you look at week 10, 11, and 12, his best game was 10 targets. He put 72 yards against Buffalo. Then he had 5 for 5, 84 and 1 against the Jets. Detroit, he was 3 and 7. I just don't trust Anthony. It's more of an Anthony Richardson take than it is a Josh Downs take, but he does have a better schedule moving forward. So if you're thinking that far ahead, which honestly I have no problem with you doing. Yeah. See that and yeah. It matchup based, like I factor in so many different things. I have both Josh Downs and DeAndre Hopkins as my 2 backups for my wide receivers. Just to let you know, like I'm in my home league, I have these 2 guys. For me personally, I just looked at all the matchups. I looked at everything moving forward. DeAndre is in a bad scenario because of everything, his matchups. But he has Patrick Mahomes. Josh Downs has Anthony Richardson. He's involved. Yeah. So I appreciate it, brother. Sorry. I know I can go a little off. Didn't mean to. I get very passionate about my takes. So Marcus goes Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield. Kyler Murray here. I like Baker, but he's been falling off the last few weeks. But I think I have to go Kyler Murray against New England. Will, I got to you. Don't worry. He goes, I have Jonathan Taylor, Brian Robinson, and Dottle. Please help me. My other starter is Saquon. I'm going Brian Robinson Jr. here. Jonathan Taylor going against Denver. Denver is one of the better defenses against the running back. Denver is currently 9th against the running back. They've been doing pretty well overall against stopping running backs. I just don't trust them being tethered to that offense. I also like Brian Robinson a little bit better going against the Saints. Saints have been horrible against the running back. So, let's see. All right, here we go. Jacob H. Harrison, Dottle, Ridley, or Metcalf? You're playing Ridley. It's either Ridley or Dottle for me. I'm gonna go this one. I'm gonna tell you if you're. So Jacob goes. You helped me clutch up round 1 last week. Lamar was on a bye, and you had me pick up Tua, and he popped. Hey man, I appreciate it. Cam, appreciate you subscribing, my friend. He goes. Oh man, it's hard for me to play Harrison. I understand the reasoning behind it, but like I said, I don't care if you drafted him in the second round, you can't play him. Dottle and Ridley have been playing real well lately. Metcalf's in a good scenario. Full PPR, I like Ridley just a smidge more, but I do like Dottle in his matchup against Carolina. I do think this is a sneaky good matchup for Carolina, and I think that they're going to do better than what people think they're going to do. I think I have to go Dottle, and it's safer. So if you are in a scenario, let's just say you play Cooper Kupp, I might play Ridley. If you didn't play Cooper Kupp and you're favored, I'm playing Dottle. That's how I have to kind of break those groups down. Yeah. So then Will goes Dottle or JT. I'm going to go Dottle. I like Dottle just a little bit more. The matchups a little bit better. JT's going against Denver. It's hard for me to go that route. I think I have both of them I think I have all 3 of them like within one. I have Jonathan Taylor at 15 and Dottle at 17. But when I have guys that close in that tier, I can play around with it with matchups and all that stuff. For me, a lot of these I have to do at the last minute. And I adjust these literally minutes after I get off of here. But I like Dottle a lot. So. Yeah, I agree. Appreciate you too, my friend. Will, no problem. That's what I'm here for. He goes, lineup this week is Lamar, Brees, Jacobs, AJ Brown, Zay, Kittle, Dottle. Okay. I would probably play. I'd play Ridley over Brees. Oh, no. I'd play Dottle over Brees and play Ridley in your flex. That's what I would do. No, not today. I mean, I think that game is going to be a little bit out of hand. I do think that Zay is going to have a good day, but it has a lot of potential to just be a Derrick Henry game. This might just be a Derrick Henry 20 for 150 yards. But for this lineup, if you have Brees, I'd rather have Dottle for Brees, and I'd rather have Ridley over Brees, if that makes sense. Just because of what you're telling me with the grouping here, that's what I would do. So I hope that's helpful. I hope everybody does well this week. Good luck to everybody that's in the playoffs in this particular group that's been talking to me. Really appreciate everybody in the chat. Ray, Perry Williams, as always, Cam, Jacob, Will, who else has been here? Cam, Marcos, as always, thank you. Really appreciate it. Walful, thank you so much for joining us today. A-Train, Rafi, always love Rafi here. A-Train, Joe, always helpful in the chat. Thank you so much for all you guys do. Joe Def, thank you for joining us. Paul, Justin, really appreciate it. Our super chat as well. I can't say your name. Vlog. I'm going to go Vlog. So thank you for your super chat. So thanks so much. He appreciates it. All-in-one show, Dangerous Toys, everybody, Jose. I mean, there's so many people in this chat. I really appreciate everybody taking your time out to spend it with me this morning on this Sunday. Good luck to everybody in week 15, unless you're facing me. I'll see you guys next Friday. Make sure you guys check us out on our Monday show. We will have our waiver wire ads. So if you're new to the show, we are here 7 days a week. Check us out. All of our other guys are going to be here. So make sure you guys are doing that. Gracias, my friend. Always here to help you guys. So make sure you guys have a wonderful week 15. Hope I see you guys in week 16. Well, unless you're facing me, I mean, but no one here is. But good luck, everybody. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.